Hello there, a great evening to you and many thanks for joining us on Rwanda Television News tonight. Our hopes that you had yourselves a great and productive Thursday. Welcome to At Night's edition. These are the headlines. The University of Rwanda students are now going to be taught languages.
Experts commend Rwanda for its rigorous adherence to regulations on tracing the origin of precious minerals, setting it apart in the region.
And to international scene, a heartbreaking story. The Chief of Defense Staff of Defense Forces of the Republic of Kenya, General Francis Ogola, died in a helicopter accident on Thursday. A very good evening to you and many thanks for joining us on Rwanda Television News. My name as always is Sam Kalisa.
And mine, Martina Vera.
How are you doing, Martina?
I'm very good. How have you been?
Very good. It's been a while.
It has been a while, but we're back, right?
Very good.
Yes.
Yes, so as we started off tonight in Education Matters, the University of Rwanda students are now going to be taught languages, and this was noted by the Prime Minister as he presented to parliamentarians a report on the government efforts to develop Rwanda's education system faster. So, Jenhore, start us off tonight.
During his presentation, the Prime Minister explained why the reforms are necessary in the way university students are taught and that they will address an important aspect of learning. The reform resulted in the reduction of the number of courses from 161 to 88. The reform also helped to eliminate the repetition of different courses in the colleges of the university. Students in the first year will focus on foundational courses, and first-year students will also learn languages with a cross-cutting approach, regardless of the courses chosen, so that their competence in communication can be strengthened, and in the future they will be better able to relay their knowledge. 2,714 primary schools now have access to clean water, up from 1,310 in 2017, an increase of 51.7% as of last year. Those with electricity were 2,284 compared to 1,689 in 2017, a jump of 41.5%. Last year, as many as 342,785 computers had been distributed in schools, up from 234,409 in 2017, an increase of 48.2%, and 2,223 schools had internet connectivity, as opposed to just 723 back in 2017, an increase of 207.4%. The parliamentarians commended their achievements over the last 7 years, though they did also point out that much more needs to be done to address other serious issues, to which the Prime Minister responded by showing that steps are already being taken to address pressing issues in the way the country's youths are prepared for the job market while fighting unemployment.
Amashuri menshi ya technical schools
Many technical schools in places like Rutsiro already have a small wing that teaches short courses. That has already begun, and now our goal is to have them spread from technical secondary schools to all sectors, the establishment of what we call vocational training centers that are standalone, providing short courses in various technical disciplines like mechanics and welding. They already exist in some areas of the country, in districts like Kamonyi, where girls are learning tailoring, and we intend to increase their number. The budget allocated for the development of primary and secondary schools in the 2023-2024 academic year has been 23 billion Rwandan francs, up from 14 billion in the 2017-2018 academic year, while the funds injected into the country's school feeding program have now reached 90 billion Rwandan francs, compared to just 6 billion 7 years ago.
Thank you, Serge Nori, for that report. Experts commend Rwanda for its rigorous adherence to regulations on tracing the origin of precious minerals, setting it apart in the region. The country also boasts of value-adding industries for these minerals before they are sold. However, miners and exporters point out that despite international trust in Rwandan minerals, the cost of export licenses remains high, ranging from $130 to $200 per ton. We have more on this report.
In 2012, countries that are members of the international community on the Great Lakes region, including Rwanda, started to be inspected and given certificates of the origin of minerals. The move was established to discourage illegal mining that could be triggered by insecurity. According to officials at the ICGLR, the move yielded tangible results.
There are 3 member states that have already established smelters for some of the 3Ds that we are looking at here. One is Uganda, which established a smelter 14 recently. Rwanda, who is our host here, I think is leading in the development of the value addition, because here we have a smelter 14, we have a smelter for tantalum, and we have gold refinery. So the function of this audit committee is to guide and ensure the implementation of regional certification mechanism. So the whole idea is to ensure the minerals produced does not in any way contribute to financing militias.
So each of the 5 member states issue that ICGLR certificate, which enables the exporters to export their minerals to China, to America, and any other countries where they want those minerals to go. And it is a very big step towards enhancing peace and security in the region.
In 2023, Rwanda's revenue from minerals amounted to $1.1 billion, up from $772 million in 2022. John Kanyangira, Mineral Traceability Division Manager at the Rwanda Mines, Petroleum and Gas Board, says that the increase in production can be attributed to the credibility of Rwandan minerals on the international market.
This committee coordinates the implementation of supply chain initiative. They mainly check whether the countries are complying with the regional standards of tracing their minerals from non-conflict area. So normally they do perform audit to make sure that the countries or the mining companies and trading companies are complying with the due diligence, whereas supply chain initiative, which gives the credibility that of the buyers that the minerals from Rwanda and the other neighboring countries are not supporting the armed group to destabilize the countries, especially in eastern DRC.
Rwanda has 3 industries that add value to the minerals before they are exported. Precious minerals are extracted from different parts of the country. To get authorization to take minerals to the market, miners and exporters pay $180 per ton of coltan and $130 per ton of cassiterite and wolfram. They say they find the prices extremely high. There is not any other problem, but paying the money becomes a burden to traders. We discuss as miners in the region and reduce the prices, but the same can't be done on the international market. Local miners wonder why they should pay the money, yet there is no insecurity in Rwanda. Member states of the ICGLR were urged to collaborate in enhancing security in the Great Lakes region to combat illegal mining and trafficking, particularly involving armed groups.
Regine Iyamuremye, the Secretary General of Unity Club in Rumuri, affirms that the initiatives associated with Ndu Munyarwanda program have played a crucial role in fostering unity and resilience among Rwandans over the past 30 years. Adam Squizera has the report.
Students in colleges and universities demonstrate that the past 30 years have laid the groundwork for fostering unity among Rwandans.
The destruction of our identity in Rwanda to occur wasn't because it wasn't there before. Instead, it was there but destroyed by the youth themselves. So what today we need to learn is that if our identity of Rwanda was tarnished by the youth, we, the youth, can be able to promote it again. That's why for us, we have the efforts to preserve our identity, as you know that we are the youth and we are the strength of tomorrow.
Nyongabo Eric, the advisor to the Minister of State in charge of ICT and TVET in the Ministry of Education, noted that such progress wouldn't have been achievable without dedicated efforts to integrate civic engagement courses into the educational curriculum. We teach them all the history, starting from the pre-colonial period, the history on how the unity of Rwandans was destructed, and how after the genocide against Tutsi, the unity was progressed. All those courses are found in our curriculum as part of Rwanda's history, which are literally taught from primary, secondary, and college level. And that's why we explain to them how the unity of Rwandans was destructed and how it was built through the Rwanda program. At the launch of the fourth phase of the Rwanda integration project in colleges and universities, Regine Iyamuremye, the Secretary General of Unity Club in Rumuri, highlighted the positive outcomes observed in the previous phases of this program.
To keep building on that foundation wasn't easy because it required us to first understand that and then later join together. So here the contribution of Unity Club was to first encourage Rwandans to understand their role in order to have the same understanding of our history, starting from us, the adults, as well as also the role of the youth to preserve what they've achieved already.
At the kickoff of this phase, students from colleges and universities across the country presented their projects aimed at educating others about initiatives related to reinforcing the Rwanda program. Adams Kwizera, RwandaTV News.
Thank you, Adams. Moving ahead, the National Commission for Human Rights is urging businesses to consider respecting human rights because it is in the interest of business owners, employers, and the nation at large. This was reiterated in the National Conference on Human Rights in Investment, which was held in Kigali on Thursday. Here's the report.
Rwanda is one of the countries that continues to attract foreign investment, although domestic investment continues to grow. Nonetheless, even when there are laws that protect workers and their environment, sometimes the owners of investment companies ignore them for personal gain, yet the violation of human rights affects their employers as well.
The National Commission organized this conference to have this dialogue with stakeholders in the business and private sector so they can, first of all, understand the connection, the link between human rights and businesses. As we know, everyone in the morning, a company, they just wake up, they know to achieve much profit as possible. But we know that in practice, we are using people who are working for the companies. We have standards that we have to respect. So that's why we have organized this conference to have a dialogue with them, to refresh. I know some of them they know, but to discuss on it and make them understand that there are some, though we do agree to make profits, but we don't have to do it on expense of human rights.
This is the reason why a national conference was organized to discuss human rights in investment. The participants that took part will come together to assess at what they can be done to ensure that human rights are respected, especially in the private sector. The Registrar General of Rwanda Development Board, Richard Kayibanda, confirms that in collaboration with other agencies, a system has been established to monitor companies' compliance with human rights, and this should be taken into account when writing projects as well.
What I would say is that within that framework of complementarity between institutions, certain aspects that have to do with human rights are assessed at the level of the Rwanda Development Board when registering not businesses but investments. This is the example of the environmental impact assessment, which is a requirement for any project that is likely to have an impact on the environment, and this is one aspect of human rights.
According to Ernest Murunziza, the representative of the private sector in the Western Province, sectors such as agriculture, construction, industry, and mining are some of the sectors that need special attention in monitoring the observance of human rights. He acknowledges that there are times when employers ignore labor rights. There are various ways to cater to your employee and make sure their rights are being respected. This could be by providing extra hour pays or making sure an employee can receive assistance if they experience any problem in the workplace, depending on the issue, since human rights are different. The meeting was preceded by a 2-day training for the beneficiaries, which is a good opportunity to discuss strategies that would further improve and raise awareness of the observance of human rights in investment. It was prepared in collaboration with the National Commission for Human Rights, the Swiss Agency for Development and Cooperation, and the Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights. It brought together representatives of various government agencies, private sector, non-governmental organizations, branches of the United Nations in Rwanda, and colleges and universities.
And moving ahead to other matters, Ivory Coast invited Rwanda as a country guest honor in the 13th edition of Amasa, a popular and renowned festival on the African continent. On Thursday, Urukerereza, which has been performing in this festival in the afternoon, performed and exchanged with other African artists with the Rwandan cultural dance. But to dive deeper into the understanding of this, joining us from Abidjan, Ivory Coast, is our colleague Amandine. Amandine, good evening and thank you for joining us. And if I may start it off, how, for someone who just had this for the first time, what is the Massa Festival, and if you can paint a picture of this festival for someone who just had it for the first time?
Good evening, Sam. Massa, actually, it's the Abidjan market for performing arts. It's like a flagship event in the cultural calendar in the Ivory Coast. And this year, Massa stands out as an exceptional showcase of diversity and richness of African performing arts, embodying the whole boundless dynamism and creativity of our country, as the Minister of the Culture and Francophonie of Ivory Coast said. And the theme is youth, innovation and entrepreneurship, keys to development. Like, it's a mixture of emotion, reflection, celebration of the African culture in all its diversity.
Right. If you can tell us, how is it organized, and in terms of portraying and showing the African culture through arts and music, what can you say about this popular festival?
Yeah. Here it's like, first of all, it's a 10-day festival. It's supposed to have like 300 performances from like all African countries. We have actors, we have musicians, like anything related to art and culture. And we were very privileged, like Rwanda being like the country guest of honor. It's something which attracts, like, because we also have like a stand like of Visit Rwanda. What's surprising, it's not only the culture and arts. People are coming to the stand, to the Rwandan stand, and then they are asking about education, investing in Rwanda, visiting Rwanda. And then that's what I can say. Urukerereza has performed like the National Ballet. We also have like, we are with 22 people from Urukerereza, the National Ballet. We have 6 actors and artists, visual artists as well, from Rwanda Art Initiative. It's amazing.
Yes, if you can paint us a picture while they performed Rucherereza, we saw the renowned Masamba Inode right there and other people, other artists in Rwanda, but also we heard from you that different other people, other Rwandan nationals who are living in other countries also attended. How was it perceived and how was the mood, particularly for the performers, but also the congregation, the audience that followed these performances?
Yes. The first thing I really enjoyed was like the Rwandan community here in Ivory Coast. They were very happy, they were very amazed, and because they all know this kind of festival is huge. But on the side of the people, the other countries, they're like, why do you go after performing? Like, it's supposed to be, you know, it's supposed to be like a festival, but here, when after performing, we stay like a few hours and then we go home, because you remember we are like in the commemoration, and then people come to us and then they ask, how do you manage to smile like that after, like, we know this time is very hard for you. And the artists are just explaining the culture. It's just, first of all, honoring the invitation. It was like something very huge, because in this hard time where Rwanda is commemorating, being able to attend this kind of event is just to share what has been like one of the key tools to lead to unity and reconciliation of Rwandans after the genocide against the Tutsi in 1904. So that's where like the discussion comes, and then they come and ask about how to dance. Like, it's something natural. They explain that it's something natural, and then, you know, you can understand like it's a mixture of emotion, because it's a Kwibuka time, we are commemorating, but we also have to share the culture and arts, yeah.
Right. Amandine Dikumasabo, thank you very much for being with us and being there for us. We'll continue getting the update as the festival goes on. Thank you very much.
All right. You're welcome, Sam. Bye.
And we'll pause it right from there, and we'll be right back.
Local residents in Rwamagana district have been urged to avoid anything that may seek to disrupt all the country has achieved. The call was made during a ceremony to mark 30 years since the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi.
Between the 7th and 17th of April in 1994, thousands of Tutsi who had fled to the hill of Murire had been able to fight back attacks from Interahamwe militia, police and regular military units. But on the 18th of that month, elite members of the Republican Guard were brought in, resulting in the slaughter of more than 15,000 people in just one day. Despite the horror of what happened on that day, some did survive and have continued to live with the determination they had then, and not allow the killers the satisfaction of thinking that they had succeeded in their goal of wiping them out. Today, genocide survivors have the support of the government in their drive to develop along with all other Rwandans. There are some genocide survivors that still face serious challenges to do with the repercussions of the genocide against the Tutsi, to do with their health and housing. I want to tell genocide survivors that we have been talking to the Ministry of National Unity and Civic Engagement about it so that permanent and long-term solutions can be found. Our leaders will assist us with any extremely difficult problems because they have never let us down and do not intend to abandon the objectives that they have already set in this regard. All Rwandans have been urged to resist anything that may seek to destroy what the country has achieved. When you take what we are constantly taught and explain about the history of the genocide against the Tutsi, as the Honorable Odette pointed out, and compare it to all the country has achieved so far rebuilding ourselves, then we must anything that may seek to take to bring back genocide similar. Let us continue building upon the policy of unity, things like the Rwanda program, and use our strength as youths to build up the country. Rwamagana district has 11 genocide memorial sites, the final resting place of more than 80,000 bodies of the victims of the genocide against the Tutsi. On Thursday, an additional 120 bodies were given a decent burial and laid to rest.
BPR Bank has held a commemoration event to remember its former employees that were killed during the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi.
The event began with a visit to the Kigali Genocide Memorial at Gisozi, where the bank's current employees and executives paid their respects at the graves of the more than 250,000 victims of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi buried there. It was also noted that commemoration events like this help to fight divisionism and build up national unity, something genocide survivors have commended, saying it also helps to give value to the victims of the genocide against the Tutsi. The employees and executives also stressed that they will never allow discrimination and the sort of divisionism that allowed the genocide to occur. This is a good indication that commemorating is now a permanent principle that is respected by all Rwandans, not just genocide survivors. Other speakers at the event took the time to thank the soldiers of what used to be the Rwanda Patriotic Army and vowed to play their part to ensure that the atrocities of genocide are never allowed to happen again.
On Thursday, Chop Life Gaming, founded by a renowned artist and investor, Mr. Easy, has launched a betting company. Mr. Easy's venture into the gaming industry began in 2017 as a brand ambassador for BetPower brand. He eventually became an investor and shareholder of BetPower's parent company and became its licensed operating partner in 5 countries, namely Uganda, Tanzania, Ghana, Rwanda, and Benin, under the umbrella. Throughout his tenure as a local operating partner and through his successful Chop Life Gaming brand, Mr. Easy has shown his dedication to nurturing talent and promoting African accomplishments in sports. He has sponsored sports teams such as Rayon Sports FC in Rwanda and Sporting Lagos in Nigeria, and endorsed athletes like Stephanie Fonjo, the WBC Asia and Middle East Super Middleweight champion. Maxwell Jantu, a globally recognized Sambo champion, now progressing in MMA, and Ateba Gauthier, an emerging star in MMA. The strategic investments and operational expertise Mr. Easy has accumulated over the past 7 years led to the creation of Chop Life CI, his first wholly owned brand in the gaming industry. This initiative aims to offer an innovative and accessible platform for sports betting enthusiasts. It also emphasizes responsible gaming practices and reinvestment in African creativity and sports development. Chop Life underscores the transformative potential of African entrepreneurship in digital entertainment, setting a new standard for industry's growth and development in the region. Thank you very much for sticking with us on RTV News, and a warm welcome back to other stories making headlines on the global scene.
Right, it's in the region. On a sad note, the Chief of Defense Forces of the Republic of Kenya, General Francis Ogola, died in a helicopter crash on Thursday. While addressing a press briefing on Thursday evening, Kenya's President William Ruto said the military chopper crashed at the Sindar area in Elgeyo Marakwet County at around 2:20 p.m. The general, who has served in the Air Force since 1984, was on a surveillance tour in the West Pokot just a week after the president ordered the military to rebuild schools and bandit-prone areas.
Watoto wa kutoka hizo shule watakuwa pale.
Monday, April the 8th this year, President William Ruto reiterating his commitment to ensure his government deals with banditry decisively. Just 2 weeks ago, over 20 schools had been closed indefinitely in Baringo and 5 others in West Pokot following incessant banditry attacks in the region. Parents withdrew their children from school while others fled their homes, setting up in camps for internally displaced persons. The latest attack on a school was on Ngaratuko Primary School that was razed to the ground by bandits. The general was earlier Thursday on a surveillance tour of the area, more specifically Chesegon, where he visited troops on the ground, making sure the president's orders were being implemented effectively.
The Chief of Defense Forces on board the Kenya Air Force Hiwi helicopter had left Nairobi this morning to visit troops deployed in the North Rift under the Operation Maliza Uhalifu, and to also inspect the ongoing school renovation works in the following schools: Chesitet Primary School, Cheptulel High School, Chepoton Primary School.
It is reported that the chopper carrying the Chief of Defense Forces and 11 other military officers took off from a local secondary school. Their task was surveying the area before the deployment of more troops to battle bandits who have made the north a playing ground. This is the second time President Ruto has deployed the military to the troubled North Rift. The first order was made on February 2023 when he ordered a joint KDF and police security operation in all bandit-prone areas. This latest deployment was the last for the general, who lost his life in a crash just 10 days shy of 1 year in office. Mashirima Kapombe, Citizen TV.
On a sad note, and may he rest in peace, and solidarity to our Kenyan brothers and sisters. And this brings us to the end. But before we conclude, this is a quick recap of the headlines. The University of Rwanda students are now going to be taught languages.
Experts commend Rwanda for its rigorous adherence to regulations on tracing the origin of precious minerals.
And on to international matters, the Chief of Defense Forces of the Republic of Kenya, General Francis Ogola, died in a helicopter crash on Thursday. And that's all from us here at RBA's Rwanda Television News. On behalf of the entire news production as well as the technical team, many thanks for being with us. My name is Sam Kalisa.
I'm Martina Herrera.
And we'll say up until next time.
Stay safe.
And have a great evening.